Hey, good morning, Justin. How
Hey,
you
good
doing?
morning.
How you doing out there in Colorado?
Oh man, I'm doing good. I'm doing great, you guys. How about yourself? Hope everybody's doing well out there.
Yeah, can't complain. A Sunday or a weekend with no Dolphins football, so it felt a little different. Watching football games with really no stress was another weird feeling.
Right?
But hey, it's all part of it, and some of the games I guess went our way. Like I said, it's almost too early in the season to worry about how the other games go
Uh huh.
because things we're rooting for yesterday we might be biting us in the butt saying, "Oh, why were we rooting for them?" And now we need. So you just never know
It's
because
true.
and yet watching that Jets and Patriots game, oh,
Oh,
that was an awful game. But
that was a
that was
bad
an
game to tune into, huh?
yeah, that was a bad game, and for everyone saying and we know we did because due to the Jets beating us head to head, we were kind of rooting for the Patriots. But I'm saying be careful what you watch for because in a couple of weeks, New England could be real contenders and the Jets could be out of the picture and maybe saying, "Oh man, I wish the Jets would have won that game."
Yeah, man,
So you
it's
just
crazy
never
you said
know.
that. It's true. It's very
Yeah,
true right there. Yeah,
yeah.
don't we thank everybody whoever's tuning in. You are watching Dolphins Daily with Thirsty and Dig It. And today we're gonna talk always Dolphins, man. This we keep it aqua and orange over here. We might talk a little bit of NFL news and flavor since the Dolphins were on a bye and what happened during the games. But don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're also looking for that great Dolphins content, don't forget to check in with dolphinsthirsty.com. You can catch great articles over there. For anybody that's tuned in, obviously, it's a little early in the morning. You catch your coffee here and get pumped up with us, and we'll get you going over here. Um, it was crazy. Like you were just talking about, Thirsty. Those games were nuts yesterday. I was actually getting me and the wife something to eat at I think I was at a Wingstop. Yeah, I was at a Wingstop, man, and I'm like sitting there watching TV, waiting for my order. The next thing you know, here's that punt return. The dude catches it, clutches it, starts running it down the field. I'm like decked out. I think I was wearing this. I was like all decked out in Dolphins gear, laughing my butt off. Like,
Yeah, I
oh, they're
was.
gonna lose on a punt return.
I
Oh
know
man.
that was brutal. I was just thinking though, man. I almost felt bad, man, because I was thinking, man, can you imagine if you lost that game that way? If you're a Dolphin fan, I'd be
Oof,
like so upset. That's just a horrible way
brutal.
to lose after your
Yeah.
defense kicks butt all day and then the special teams gives it up. But yeah, oh, I see you're rocking by the way, Zach Thomas, and I'm
Yeah.
rocking Dan Marino.
Zacky. Hell yeah, I
So
love that
we,
shirt.
we
It's
got both old school stuff on since it's a week off until next week if we
yep.
don't play. So not much to talk about on the current team. So it's awesome to. I like your Zach too. So
Oh,
that's
thanks,
really
man.
cool.
Yeah, I love this flavor of one. I got one like this and Jason Taylor as well. I was like, I'm real like I like the old school white with those 3D numbers like that. So I
Yeah,
was like,
no,
oh, I want a Jason Taylor and a Zach like that. So I had to get one. But like you
I'm
said, there's not a lot of Dolphins news, but there are things going on out there. The Dolphins are doing their charity work for the community in and about of Miami. They're trying to get out there and do their due diligence. I seen Larry Zonka had a meet and greet like 2-3 days ago. So there are some things going on out there in your neck of the woods. There's some stuff still going on down there
yeah,
during
we
the bye
try.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it is what it is. But hey, no, there is a lot of. Sorry, I'm trying to look at some backstream stuff here.
Oh, you're good, bro.
Yeah, but yeah. So anyway, real quick, and then we get into more of the football stuff. How many jerseys do you have? I see you rock a different jersey every day. How many Dolphin jerseys do you have for your
Um,
personal collection, not your.
I actually have a whole probably like 50, but
Oh,
I think I got like anybody who's in the Hall of Fame for the Dolphins, like the whole Hall of Fame class, like Paul Warfield,
Larry
Dwight
Zonka. Oh, you
Stevenson.
got a Dwight Stevenson. That's
Yep.
cool.
I have all those players. Jim Langier. I have Bob Greasy. I got all those. Anybody who's in the Hall of Fame for the Dolphins, I have one of those. So I want to collect the whole Ring of Fame Dolphins players, which Manny Fernandez. I'm missing a couple, like Manny
Yeah.
Fernandez, Jim Kick, Jake Scott. But yeah, I
Wow.
pretty much have every player that was famous, honestly. Yeah, I've got
Hey,
like 50, 60 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Hey, you're Jake Scott, Dan Marino. You got a 13 you're already rocking, so you're
Yep.
good. But so anyway, what do you have? I know you did some stuff. You said like some to talk about the Dolphins today.
Oh yeah, man. Like, oh man, I was just kind of like, uh, before we get into that, like, we'll just talk a little bit maybe about the NFL because it kind of carries into like with the rest of what the league is kind of doing.
Right.
Um, the game shaked out yesterday. I noticed there was a lot of close games that were coming down to the wire. There wasn't a really lot of blowouts, like
No,
as we just were discussing, as you alluded to. The Patriots and Jets actually came down to a
punt
special teams
return.
punt return,
That's crazy.
to decide the game.
And that was the first punt return for a touchdown in the
Yeah,
whole NFL this year. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it was nuts, man. Honestly, I was like, wow. I mean, that could. It's crazy you brought it up too. Like, oh man, I kind of felt bad for him because how would you like to lose like that as a Dolphins fan? And the first thing that hit my mind when I seen him toting the ball back and
Yeah.
he cut back up the field off the sideline was our special teams, and I was like, ooh, damn, I don't want to lose like that.
I know I know that's a
So
brutal way to use. I mean, like I say, it's so hard. I find myself it was very hard yesterday rooting for either one of those teams as a
absolutely,
Dolphins fan. So it's like because I know most if you would have done a poll, most Dolphin fans would have said they wanted New England to win yesterday. But it's just so hard rooting for them to want to win,
I
just because
know.
the years and them dominating our division. So it's just like it feels weird. Oh, I want to see New England win. So,
I know.
but
It's
and then even in that game last night, because I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it'd be good if the Chargers win," because then. But then I was thinking, well, it just depends. We don't know where we're going to be standing because it's better if the Chargers win right now because of if we're in the number one seed, we're the number one seed, and if we can hold out that through the whole year, then super. But then if we struggle a couple games and we're not for some reason we fall behind right at the end behind Buffalo, then you'd be wishing that San Diego had a couple extra losses when you're battling for that final. So it's just another weird game last night, rooting, who to root for. And Kansas City won in the end. But Herbert, I have to say, I know he threw that interception at the end, but he looked really solid. I mean, he threw some beautiful passes in that game. So, that's going to be a tough matchup in a couple of weeks for the Dolphins. I do think we match up better against them than some other teams, but, we'll see.
right. It's honestly, man, like I was watching that game. I watched that Sunday night game, and like you said, he looked pretty solid. But once again, man, that clutch gene seems to nip him in the butt.
Yeah.
Throws another pick there to the end. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just something he's becoming accustomed to doing. You can count on that dude throwing a pick in the end of the game somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not
I
a
know
good
because he
habit.
had kind of wiped it off yesterday but then they allowed Kansas City to go right down the field and get a touchdown because, I was
Exactly.
thinking, oh, Herbert went and got his team a touchdown, but then their defense allowed the Chiefs right down the field.
Yep.
You kind of had a feeling that the Chiefs had enough time to go down there. I mean, you can't leave Mahomes much time at all.
No.
I mean,
I
just
s-
ask Buffalo. Just ask Buffalo. You can't leave Mahomes
no.
seconds.
You can't leave him no time. I seen a
Yeah,
meme on Twitter where they were Herbert, like they're clowning on him, where he like you could see the words out of his mouth and his lips were reading. I never wanted to tie so bad on the sideline, and I commented on that shit. And this is the guy you guys wanted to draft. You wanted to
yeah,
draft this guy who wants a tie. Like you never hear that come out of Oose's mouth. I want a tie so bad. And
yeah. I know.
I'm just not a Herbert fan. Like
Yeah, I
I
know.
knew
I
they
know.
were.
You've made it. I know you made it clear.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I'll be honest with you. I knew Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to win the game last night. Like you could see toward the end of the game, there's like what less than a minute left, and the Chargers scored right now. They panned to the sideline, and
yeah,
Mahomes is like, "Yeah, we
yeah. He
got
was
plenty of
smiling. Yeah, he
yeah,
was
he's
smiling.
smiling like we got
Yeah.
plenty of time
No,
for
no,
that
he
tie."
was. He definitely was. I guess he just knew he had it in the bag anyway. That he would go down there. But the whole game, the San Diego. I mean, I still want to say San Diego. I've
So do
always
I.
called it
So
the
do I.
Chargers, LA Chargers, they had kept them at bay for the most part. They had to settle for field goals. So, I mean, he had moved the ball, but they had to settle for field goals. But I guess when the money was on the line, he knew, okay, now we got to punch it in. And it's crazy. And
Dude,
that Kelsey's insane,
that's what I
man.
was just going to talk about, man. Right there, it's funny. I'm glad you talked about it. It's really nuts how somebody like that has they have a lot of consistency together, and they got a lot of swagger together. They've been playing together for a long time, so they know what each other's going to do. But to be quite honest with you, it really helps to have somebody that's like a coach on the football field, like a Travis Kelce, who can read defenses just as well as you can as Patrick Mahomes. Because that last play where he scored, man, he really did kind of shake the dude to the right and then go right across the field to left. And you can't hang with the dude. I mean, Derwin couldn't run with him across the field. It's like trying to trace Tyreek Hill across the field.
Oh,
It's
no,
probably just not going to work out for you. And
no.
you know what? It led me to start thinking in my mind. I always bring it back to aqua and orange, baby. And I'm thinking about Mike Gesicki, and I'm like, man, I wish Mike Gesicki could turn into something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't have that burst, though. I guess he doesn't have that.
He does have that burst. He's one of the fastest tight ends coming out of that whole draft class. Like
I know that's what I know. That's what we keep on hearing. But I don't know, his yard after catch is almost, it doesn't ever work out.
It just doesn't look like that on tape, does it? Like he's really not that fast. Like he's faster than Odell Beckham Jr. or no, faster than Antonio Brown and can leap higher than Odell Beckham Jr. That's all his stuff that was coming out of the combine. Remember the combine? He was a combine warrior.
Oh no, he was. I mean, that's what
great and all, but we need football players down here because Travis Kelce can do that shit and he can play football at a very high level.
Yeah, and I like Gesicki. Don't get me wrong, but he just, I don't know. It's just like once he catches it, it's almost always he goes down after the first contact.
I can't take it. I hate that. Man. That's the worst thing about him.
Because he's a bigger guy. You think, he can at least break a couple.
6'6", 256 pounds, bro. It's like you can run through a guy or two, can't you?
I know.
I would think you could, but that's just me. But,
I know. It's just, I know. It's just weird. But like I say, he's good in the red zone. He leaps up there, grabs the ball. So he's good for his purpose. So you just got to fit him for what his strength is. And I'm happy to have him on the team this year. Yeah, like I said, moving forward, I don't think he's a long-term Dolphin player. But for this year, I like him. And, we just got to find a way to use him. But, yeah, when you see Kelce, like, lighting up the league and you're like, oh, man, we got a guy that kind of has similar traits that but he just doesn't, So.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it's not, I'll fall into these things and there's nothing really to do during a bye week. So, of course, I'll go and make a whole new list. I got a whole new list.
Hey, that's great.
I've noticed something that's going on, and it's a trend that's going on in the league right now, which leads me into like what I was going to kind of talk about anyway, which was how we could bolster the team even more. Like the Eagles did it with Linval Joseph and the Dominican Sue. They won a game by 1 point yesterday. I mean, I didn't watch the complete game, but I watched,
I didn't watch all of it either. I was watching some red zone of it, but
like the thing I'm noticing though is like all the vets that are stashed right now on other people's practice squads, and these are veterans that can help you win games. And like the Patriots right now, man, don't look now, don't bat an eye, but they're actually hanging in the division. The Jets are in last place in the division.
No, I know. That's what I was saying. Be careful for what you wish for, because I know most people were all saying, oh, we want the Patriots, but they're right on our butt. So
yeah, they are. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like they got Jamie Collins stashed on their practice squad right now. Like if they really had an injury or something go down, like see the way I see it, dude, is like if you really wanted to get at your competition, you could hit them where it hurts. Like we just got poached for Steely off our practice squad.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to go start getting these guys and poaching some of their players, you can start doing damage to them. Like Jamie Collins, just for an example, I'll give you an example. Jamie Collins is on the Patriots practice squad. Duke Johnson's on the Bills practice squad, along with Lynn Bowden's also on the Patriots practice squad. I mean, here you go. Here's another one. Devon Kennard is on the Ravens practice squad, along with Deshaun Jackson. You've heard of that name before, right?
Wow, of course, man. I can't believe he's still, kicking around a practice. That's crazy.
That's speed, bro. They're putting speed on that roster and stashing it. So maybe they're like, oh, maybe no one will notice and no one will grab it. Bullshit. Everybody notices.
Yeah.
And then you go even down the roster even more. There's more and more veterans that are on rosters out there everywhere. And I noticed there's kickers too that are stashed out there. Like the Jaguars have James McCourt. Somebody else has this Amon Ramez, something like that. There's a couple kickers that are stashed out there as well. Okay. And then, who was? Oh, the Raiders got that. Have you heard of Kyle Pecco? He's for the name, but one tech. I think he won a Super Bowl down there with the Broncos when they made their run as well. then I think it's the Vikings. Someone like that has this Armir Smith-Marset stashed on their roster. That's speed with a return man mixed in.
Yeah.
There's stuff stashed throughout the whole league.
I guess.
Look, Sam Ficken stashed throughout the whole league. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it'd be tough though to do a kicker just because you would have to sign him to the active line, and that's just basically giving Sanders the boot. And I think maybe they're hoping this week after the bye that he'll get his head straight and he'll start kicking well, because free agent kicker you can bring in off the street and just practice and give him a little, give a little fire under Jason Sanders' butt to say, hey, I better start making. They're bringing in guys to look at. And
I don't think they'll bring in a kicker like that. And if they did, it would be along the lines of like what you said. Yeah. But it's crazy. Like, man, everyone's kind of bolstering their rosters and the back end of them to make this kind of a run. No one did it better, I don't think, really, than the Eagles. They went out there and grabbed some guys who were on the street.
Yeah, he was already playing. Yeah, they already threw in Dominic Sue in the game this week. He was out there playing.
Yeah, both of them. So. Yeah, number 74. Yeah, I've seen a couple snaps with him in there.
Yeah, the Eagles, they won again, but luckily they lost their one game already, so we don't even have to worry about them being in. But I don't know. I think they're not as good as their record looks, but we'll see.
I think you're right, bro. No, I think you're right onto something, honestly. I don't think the Bills are as good as everybody thinks. I don't think Buffalo is as good as everybody thinks they are.
No. Speaking of that, come Thanksgiving, we might be eating some turkey with actually Detroit having a very good chance to win that game. Who would have thought going in? But, Detroit may give them a battle.
They might. And Detroit's playing on pretty good cylinders right now. I remember, before we got ready to play that game, excuse me, I give a shout out to Coach Jim Fuller on Twitter. He kind of gave me some shit. I was like, oh, but the Lions are tough. He's like, tough. They lost their last two games 56-7. And I was like, well, I don't mean tough by score-wise. I meant they look good in the trenches and they're starting to play scrappier and tougher. And look, we barely won the fucking game. I mean, we pulled it out. But, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, the Lions will come out there and win a game you don't expect them to win. Look, then they turned around, I think, 2 weeks later and beat the Bears by, 1 point? I mean, you got to watch teams like that.
They're not. Like I say, they were in a little low when we played them, but then because they had started off very competitive, then they kind of, had a couple bad games leading into our game, but we kind of got them going again because in that first half, it was toe to toe with them, and then we pulled away from them. But they're not an easy team, so even Cleveland could have had that game yesterday against Buffalo if they would have played a little better in the beginning, but they gave up points, a few times. Like when they could have maybe kicked a field goal, they would go for it, and then they wouldn't get it. And, at the end of the game, those points would have been critical. I mean, at the time, I understand maybe, but, it just shows that, it's crazy. It's like Buffalo never blew. I know you can't compare 1 week to the next, but we looked a lot better against Cleveland than Buffalo looked against Cleveland.
Oh, absolutely. But not only that, man, I was watching that game. I was watching it closely. Cleveland was in the game, dude, like all the way up until like maybe the third quarter. Then somewhere around the third quarter, they just decided not to play like they needed to, and they lost the game. But they could have won the game if they just, stayed playing aggressively like they were. But they played them tough, man. I was hella surprised to see them playing Buffalo that tough. But Buffalo has some injuries that they're dealing with too, just like everybody does right now. There's not a team in the league right now who's like, oh, man, we're 100% fully healthy.
Oh, no.
There's nobody. There's no one like that.
I know. Just ask the Dolphins. We haven't had Jones. Well, both Jones are out, but our Jones that we kept on thinking to be back hasn't come back all year. And if like I said, this is the week I circled on the calendar. Brian Jones is not back before the bye week's over. I just don't see him coming back. It's just this is it, and I don't know. So we'll see, but hopefully, now this is it. All year you've been hearing McDaniel talk. You want to be playing your best football at the end of the year. So we're getting to the end of the year. So this is the time, we're starting to hit a stride, but after this Houston game, boy, it's going to get tough.
Yeah. Like you were saying right there about Byron Jones. Me and Dr. Brown talked about it on this weekend show, and he brought up a good point to me. He's like, you know what? I asked him what he thought about it. He was telling me that it's okay to think that we're thinking maybe if it doesn't happen here, like the bye week like before the Houston game,
Yeah,
that it's okay to think maybe he won't be back. But his thoughts on it were, let's see what happens going into the San Francisco game.
right.
So he thinks maybe that he'll be back in time to play for the San Francisco game and beyond, to help his career and help his, maybe the Dolphins think about keeping him on a restructured deal or something like
Yeah,
that.
well, that'd be great because we need all the help we can get. But I love me some Cater Kohu. I wrote about him
Oh
on
yeah.
Dolphin. I wrote him about on Dolphin Thirsty this week. He's been like such a surprise. It's just like Nick Needham a few years ago, just an undrafted free agent that the only reason he's playing because a whole bunch of stuff went wrong, but they're taking, it's just like they're taking advantage of that situation and playing well and showing, hey, you NFL draft experts aren't experts. 7 rounds passed and not one team drafted this kid. And Sam Madison said in his press conference that he used Cater as an NFL starter, not just a solid player. He says this kid's a starter. NFL, he just absorbs everything that Madison's teaching him. And it's just been awesome to see this kid play. He's gonna have his bump. We may yell at him one day because he's gonna get burned because he's a rookie and an undrafted rookie at that. But the kid has stepped up and played way above what we could reasonably expect him to be playing. It's just been incredible. And he comes up there and run support too. He's not afraid to stick his head in there, and he's a pretty good tackler. He's just like
he's solid.
He's not the ball hawk that Xavier Howard is in his prime, but that can come with time too. But he's passed defense well. To me, he's like one of the bright spots on the team. And we have a lot. When you're sitting at 7-3 at top number 1 in the AFC East, you've obviously had a lot of bright spots, but he's like one of the surprises, I find. He has just been.
No, it's one of the biggest surprises of the season for the Miami Dolphins, and it's crazy, but it's nuts. But Josh Boyer does it all the time with those undrafted deep backs. He could just make something out of them. He did it with Nick Needham. I've seen a couple other guys come through and in here and out of here, like Trey Waynes.
Yeah.
Or no, was it Tay? It's not Trey Waynes. Tay Hayes. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Tay Hayes, and then you had Jamal Perry, who's back with us now. You had Torrey McTyer, guys like that who would come in and they would make wonders out of these guys, and they would play really well for us. And that's because they're playing within the scheme. Cater, where would we be right now without Kadar Kohu? We would not be where we are right now without him. We got lucky with a gem pickup right there that's playing lights out. Good for us right now.
It's just crazy. Just
it's nuts, dude. And a good
and
time
you went to a small college because if you look real quick at his bio, it says like Texas A&M. You're like, oh, that's a big school, but it has Texas A&M Commerce.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, that's different because you're like, oh, how could he be noticed playing for Texas A&M? But he was playing for. It's just crazy. It just shows that NFL talent is not an easy thing to grade. And you can pay all these guys great big GM money, big scout money, and they still blow it year in and year out. And there's undrafted.
It just happens, man. It just guys like that slip by the cracks sometimes, and they get lucky, and then they start to catch on in the right systems and the right spots. Like it's hard, Sometimes guys you'll miss on them, and sometimes you'll hit. Like I'll be honest, the dude that I interact with on my Twitter all the time, his name's Steve. Just Imba, I think you can catch him at. He actually called the Cater Kohu thing, and I was like, I don't know, man. The dude's out of Texas A&M Commerce. We'll see. He might have a chance at the practice squad. That's what I gave him. And look, dude comes out of nowhere and just starts blowing it up, dog. You never know when this is going to happen. And
I know it's crazy. It's great though. It's
good for us.
No, it is. Because it hasn't, it's made the Jones injury a little more sustained, like we could withstand it better. Because without him, I don't know where we'd be right now. That's just the crazy thing about this.
It's true what you said. Where would we be without the Cater Kohu? And also, I want to give this guy's flowers. You've probably heard me talk about it lots of times. Is Justin Bethel. They picked up Justin Bethel in week 3, and I was telling Gino, who is a notorious JP, please get better, buddy, about this guy. I think he's going to see some defensive snaps, and lo and behold, got an interception, seen defensive snaps, playing special teams. I think the guy's a great pickup, and I would love to keep him. We brought in Trey Flowers. We brought in Brandon Shell, who's starting at right
Oh
tackle.
no, and he was in the
Come
middle.
on.
The
Look at
season
that.
already started when we brought him in. So there's been some
He
good,
pulled this
you
dude
know,
off
that
the streets. No one even wanted the guy, but we went and picked him up, and it's working out well for us.
Yeah.
This is a good time to segue into the next segment, but before we do that, I want to thank everybody for watching Dolphins Daily with Rob, which is Rob right there, Thirsty, and this is me, JPF Scout from Digging in the Trenches. We thank all of you guys for tuning in. Come get your morning coffee with us. We will talk Dolphins, keep it aqua and orange, maybe get a little bit around the league in a bye week that's like this. If you want great Dolphins content, great articles, stuff that'll keep you reading through these bye week slow times, please check out dolphinsthirsty.com. Thank you guys very much. We love all of you. We'll keep this thing rolling, though, right along. Segue into the next thing about my little plan I was kicking off here for, right? We talked a little bit last week, and we don't have a lot of money right now in the cap, right?
No, very little, like 500 something.
$5 million. That's what we have. We have
$5 million. Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, this is a time that if this didn't, like, I'm not over here saying this has to happen or doesn't have to happen. It could happen or could not happen. I don't care. But it would just help your chances of getting to the promised land, which is where we all want to go. We already did those moves before the trade deadline. We got Bradley Chubb and we got Jeff Wilson. So I'm not going to complain by no means. But if I was a GM, I would actually be thinking about doing some of these moves right here. And the first move is you got $5 million already, okay? Now, keep this in mind. You have one roster spot on the 53-man roster spot open right now. And one practice squad spot. Okay, remember, you got those two. Okay, the first thing I would do is I would actually give Gaskin, Ahmed, and Sam Egelwagen their walking papers. I would cut those three players. You cut those three players, you get yourself almost, I think it was like almost $9 million on the cap, $8.5 million on the cap, okay? Then what I would do from there, now you have 4 roster spots open, right?
Right.
If you cut those guys, 4 roster spots open. The first move I would make is I would poach Raymond Johnson III off the Bengals practice squad. Okay, that's the first. That fills one spot. This is assuming that Byron Jones is not going to come back.
Right.
And they got word down the line, it's not going to work out with Byron. We're going to go ahead and put him on season-ending IR. All right? Okay, that's the first move. Raymond. Okay, then this is going to kind of throw you for a loop, and a lot of people are either going to be really excited, which I've heard some talk about it already. I don't know, but this is what I would do, is I would use some of that money to sign Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh, I knew you might go there. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I really would. And this is, hold on. Let me justify.
I will. I would let you justify it. That's okay. Cool.
Now check it out. It gives you another weapon over the middle. A lot of people will be like, "There's not enough footballs to go around." That's ridiculous. It puts you closer to where you want to go. Odell's a baller right now. Last year, I was like, no, we don't need that right now. But this year, it's the cherry on the top to get you there. This is the thought behind it. Okay. What did we see last night? Sunday Night Football, the last play of the game. Somebody who could read defenses along with his quarterback who could read defenses. Last play of the game, and it won him the football game. It was Travis Kelce in the middle of the football field.
Right.
You could put Odell Beckham in the middle of the football field, or you could put Mike Gesicki in the middle of the football field. Who are you putting in the middle of the football field?
Of course.
I'm putting Odell Beckham in the middle. If he's got 50 some odd TDs, Mike don't have that and can't read the defenses like that. Yeah. I think it would work. It's a risk. Did I say it? I didn't say any of these aren't a risk. I just don't think it changes the dynamics of the team any which way that would hurt us. It would only help us. That would boost us. Now you have 4-headed monster if you throw Mike Gesicki in there. Who are you going to cover now? All right? Yeah. That's the second part of that. All right? You got Raymond Johnson III, Odell Beckham Jr. I actually put out a tweet yesterday and being like, if Byron doesn't come back, why don't we go look at this guy? And the guy's name is Brashard Breeland, former Kansas City Chief. He's played a couple different places, but he has won a Super Bowl. I think he's like 30 years old. He's on the street right now. If that ain't going to work out, that gives you another body down there. Okay, right. That's your third. So now I just added Brashard Breeland, Raymond Johnson III, and Odell Beckham Jr. to the roster, right?
All right.
So that's Breland, Raymond Johnson III, Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, now this is the last one. That's why I saved it for the last one. Is the most important one of them all. And you're like, what the hell? Odell Beckham Jr. should have been the most important one.
Yeah.
He's got the most star power. Now this one, he's already been on our team before. And right now he's actually sitting there helping out the Buffalo Bills win football games in numerous different ways. And that last poach is going to be, remember, we'd already got rid of Gaskin and Ahmed. We're not using them. We're not using them anyway. Are we using Gaskin and Ahmed? What have they gotten? What, 4 carries, all maybe 6 combined throughout the whole season?
Yeah.
So this is, to me, this is what I'm trying to do is proper.
I know, but you don't want to get too thin at the running back spot if someone goes down.
No, we're not going to be thin at all. Watch, I'm not done.
Okay. Oh, I know who you're going. Yeah, I know who you're going.
Who am I going to get?
Duke Johnson or?
Bam! You hit it. Duke Johnson off the Bills practice squad, and let me tell you why. He gives you not only another running back. Oh, and it's a running back that's a pass-catching running back out of the backfield like we already want. I seen the dude have like a season where he caught like almost 70 passes for like 600 yards. Dude, he's a baller, bro. He's a football player. But it fills you a role as a kick returning role and a punt returning role. Oh. And he can give you special teams coverage as well. Where we would be lacking, what were we just talking about? How did the Patriots win the game versus the Jets? Do you want to lose a game like that, or do you want Duke out there making a tackle?
No,
well, Duke can help you on special teams. He takes.
I agree with that. He looked good in his short little stint with Miami last year. He looked pretty
great,
sharp.
bro. He takes Mostert off the field. Mostert don't have to come out there now for kick returns. Now Duke can take over that job. That's 4 guys you just added to the roster. If you did something like this right now, you would be the far favorite to go to the big game, because now you're bolstering and stacking your bricks all through us. This ain't going to happen, but
hey, of course, but hey, we can all dream. We know how long we've been waiting.
You could do.
I've been waiting forever. Look, this man's the last time we've been at the big game was Dan Marino was on the team, so it's been way too long. And he lost that. That's a heartbreaker, but he lost it. But that's the last time that we've been in the big game.
Exactly.
The Super Bowl. So it's insane. It's way too long. It's been way too long since we've even won a freaking playoff game.
I mean, this would help us. I think all those moves right there I just said would help us. And all you're losing out of all of that is 3 players that and maybe a 4th. We don't know about Byron because he's still going to be under contract maybe for next year. But you're losing 3 players that you're not going to have under contract for next year anyway. Miles Gaskin, Selvin Ahmed, and Sammy the Slug Iguodala. You're not going to have those guys on the roster. Okay, now I'm not done, because there's the back end has still got the practice squad dangling out there. And if it was me, I would actually get rid of Calvin Jackson, who's been brought into the practice squad just new because he's a rookie, maybe needs to catch on and get some more cups of coffee with some different teams and learn how to play in this league. Tino Ellis, who's been with us back and forth, and then Jake Bargas, who just got there, the fullback. I would cut those 3. And then check this out, though. This is you could do this on the back end. This is going to make a lot of people really happy. Chris on my Twitter, I forgot it starts with an S. I think Sirianni or something like that on my Twitter. You're going to love this move. This move is for you, buddy, and for me. Then on the back end of that, remember we already said Sam, you can go, and Tyndall steps up into Sam's spot, but that leaves us a spot, and I'm going to fill it with Reuben Foster, and we're going to add him to the practice squad. He's on the streets right now. You could easily make that signing. Reuben would give you another quality piece to add to your linebacker core. He would be something you're trying to stash back there. So maybe if you need him, you could use him, along the lines of just another depth piece. These are all smart moves. That's 5 guys you just added to your lineup while the Eagles are over there adding Linville Joseph and Adama Kansu.
Right.
I would put these guys on my team, and I would make those moves just to do that. Then I would also add, we have 3 more spots open on the practice squad because we had that 1 extra.
Right.
I would bring back Blaze Andres. He was on the team during the preseason, the offensive lineman out of Minnesota. He can play 4 different offensive lineman spots just to give you an extra little piece there on the offensive line in case anything happens. It's just an insurance clause.
Okay? Right.
And then the next guy I would add has experience with Mike McDaniels, and Mike McDaniels has experience with him. He's been sitting. But with the way things have gone down in the tight end room lately, Hunter Long, I think, has got a concussion. Connor went down before that. I would go ahead and add Caden Smith. He's a tight end that Mike McDaniels is familiar with out of the 49ers system. I think he's a former Washington Husky tight end. He can block, he can catch. Put that guy on the practice squad. Another little chip there for an insurance matter, okay? This will get me to my final piece of the puzzle. I know we've been kind of all over the place, but Dan,
I know. That's fine. I'm letting you ramble. That's fine.
It's nuts, but each one of these pieces would help us. They would actually increase our chances to get to where we want to go because it's depth. It's depth that you could use now that you're not using. You're not using Gaskin, you're not using Ahmed, and you're not using Sammy. So it would help us. You're not using Byron Jones. So all these guys that could play would help. The last piece would be he's sitting on the street. A lot of people are going to be like, you're such a homer. You're such a homer. People are going to call me out because his jersey's actually sitting up right behind me, right here, right there. And I would go ahead and sign Philip Lindsay off the streets right now to add that last spot on the practice squad. You had both of them on the team last year, Duke Johnson and Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, we did.
So it's not like you're going to be missing anything, and Philip Lindsay's just going to be on the practice squad. That is another insurance piece that I'm trying to stash away from the rest of the NFL, along with all the other ones that I had on there. And you would still be sitting with practice squad players on your team, Lamont Galliard, Grant Hermans, Jamal Perry, Brennan Scarlett, Sanders, LaMichael P. Ryan. Yeah, Jets suck. What's up, Kevin? Yeah, man. I'll be honest.
Things up, Kev. Welcome to the show.
I think they would put us right over the top. If just the way I do this is kind of like this, okay? Is Reuben Foster better right now than the guy we don't have on the practice squad? Or is he better than Gaskin? Is he better than Ahmed? Is he better than Aguavin? Is Duke Johnson better than Gaskin?
I think he is.
Yeah, okay.
I think he is.
Is he better than Ahmed? Yeah. So then you add him in that spot. That's my whole point. Is Reuben Foster any better or any worse than Sammy Aguavin? I bet you Foster can cover better than Sam Aguavin. So
there has to be something though about Reuben Foster. No teams want to touch him for whatever reason, and he's worked out for teams, and I don't know. Who knows? Like I said, we don't know.
I don't.
But
I haven't seen Reuben get any tryouts this year.
I know the Dolphins looked at him for a minute.
I haven't seen heard of any tryouts for him. I think maybe he came there to the practice, but I haven't heard of like an actual official tryout for him.
I know. It's
but the Breland one, he's just dangling out there too. There's other guys dangling out there too, like Alex Okafor, Sheldon Richardson. Hell, I'm down for any of those. Anything to bolster the line of scrimmage, or where we're weak, like cornerback or linebacker. Yeah. You know, the running back, why I decided to move off those guys because you're not going to have them on the roster next year anyway.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that. Give us a thumbs up and hit the thumbs up for liking the show. And, make sure you check out my man here all the time. He brings the great stuff. That's his name right there, JPF Scout on Twitter, digging in the trenches. Great follow. And if you need I think your buddy Kev has a question for you there. Yes.
Trey Flowers still hurt?
Yeah, he's done for the season, it sounds like, Steve. That's Steve. I thought that was Colorado. That's Steve. Hey, Steve. Welcome, Steve.
Yeah, I heard something about him. I heard that he was they were in a state of kind of like they don't know what's going to happen with Trey Flowers yet, whether he's going to be on the season-ending IR or whether he could have a chance to get a designation for return. So I heard that's also still up in the air. Now with going all over those moves I just made, if they're like, no, there's a chance we could bring Trey Flowers back, well, then we don't need Raymond Johnson III. We'll just bring Trey Flowers back. That would be something I'd be down for. And I heard something along the lines like it's the same time frame they're thinking San Francisco, like with Byron Jones on that Trey Flowers. So let's just hold out hope for that.
Yeah, let's hope so. Anyway, because I know in the last press conference, McDaniel, someone asked him about Trey Flowers, and he said, basically, it's the unknown. He gets philosophy, like he does. He was saying it's the unknown. So he was saying that nothing's changed. So was kind of implied that they're not counting on him playing.
No, they're not. Like, I know it's crazy, all those moves I just went over, but I mean, honestly, if I was to think about it, especially the OBJ one, I know it's very controversial, but just imagine that right there. Just think about it in your brain. Is OBJ better than Mike Gesicki?
No, yes, I agree with you on that, but I also just I don't know.
Do you want to win a Super Bowl?
Because we already got two quality.
Look at the way I'm looking at you right now. Do you want?
I know.
Do you want to win a Super Bowl?
Be better. I know. Hey, I'd be shocked, but there's been things that shocked me before, but I'd be shocked.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, dude. Like, there's certain.
I think after seeing Dallas play yesterday, I think Dallas might be a leaning favorite towards getting OBJ, or I don't know. We'll see. But I know he's looking for another chance to get to the big game, and Dolphins would bring him that chance again. So
I've heard lots of rumors about OBJ. In fact, he's seen. I think it was somebody he was really impressed with. I think it was Kansas City. He said, "Look at Kansas City doing their thing, 15-87." I've heard Kansas City. I've heard the Cowboys. I seen he was in Miami at a Heat game with Melvin Ingram. But okay, I'm just saying.
I know. I did see him with that. Anyway, so segueing into like the future now, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our guys that we're wearing today, Zach and Moreno. But going into the future, so we got the Texans coming up, where Houston's out, where Steve lives, but of course Steve's a huge Dolphin fan. So I think we can both, without getting too deep into it, we are assuming that the Dolphins should get their 8th win of the season against Houston. Even if they don't play their A game, Miami should be able to beat Houston. You agree on that?
Yeah, I agree on that. But I also think there's a couple things that any given Sunday you could lose.
Oh, and of course, any given. I know.
What about if the Dolphins decided to do something that not going to make anybody happy? If they're like, you know what, we need Teron Armstead to rest this game. We're going to go ahead and let Xavier Howard sit down this game, and they decided to rest those guys. Now, what are you doing?
Oh, of course. I don't think they're going to do that, man. Because we're not at that point,
Why not?
Because we're just not. We can't afford to lose the game.
I know we can't afford to lose the game, but maybe they think they can win the game without those guys.
I know. Well, I don't know. I think that'd be crazy move. You never know. I mean, there have been crazier things because then I would give them all that time, the bye week off, and then that game off, and then really be ready to go for the rest of the way. I still think, though, without those guys, I think they're better than Houston. I mean, as long as you roll out Tua, Hill, and Waddle, and
if they decided to sit Howard and sit Armstead, the Dolphins still win the game.
Yeah,
look at that, Steve, right there. Kelsey was a former quarterback, right there, dude. That gives you a leg up on your team, on the defense, right there. It's like having an extra coach on the field, like I was telling you. Man, I'm honest. I'll be straight up with that, dog. Like, you get someone like that who can read the defenses along with your quarterback, you can tear people apart. I mean, Gesicki can't do that, though, and that's just the thing.
No. We know, we've seen now. I mean, we've had Gesicki for a few years now, so we know what we got with Gesicki. He's good in the red zone. He's going to grab you some big touchdowns, but he's not going to be a Kelsey that takes over a game and just breaks tackles and runs down the sideline for a touchdown. But if he's in the red zone and you throw it up, he's a good, I like his odds of coming down with it. So,
sure.
That's where we stand with him. Anyway, so like I was saying, I just getting to the point because someone was saying you basically, for sure a playoff spot, you need 11 wins this year because the AFC is so competitive.
I agree.
But if you look at it, we got 7 games. Let's see, make sure I'm doing the math. Yeah, 7 games left. Of 3 of those games are at home, 4 are on the road. If you win all 3 home games, that gets you right to 10. We have 10 wins. So then we have to at least pick up one of those road wins. And I think we could do more because we want. This is a team that has that bigger picture. But if you just win, like I said, all the home games, you're at 10 wins for the season. And I think we should be able to beat Houston at home. We should be able to beat the Jets at home. The Packers is the unknown because you don't know how they're going to play. Are they going to look like they did against the Cowboys, or are they going to look like how they showed up against Tennessee? You just don't know what the Packers is. Aaron Rodgers just going to go off that day and be the Aaron Rodgers of old, or is he going to be the Aaron Rodgers of 2022, inconsistent and not that great? So you just never know. So, but just thinking, I think we should still be able to beat because we're going to have more to play for because it's looking like the Packers are going to be out of it. So we should have more. So we should win all 3 home games. So, like I say, this is the NFL, any given Sunday and what have you. I know it's all the cliches you want to say, but that should get us to the 10-win mark. So then you either have to beat the 49ers, the Chargers, New England, or Buffalo on the road. And that's I mean, which one of those do you see us more likely? Probably the Chargers.
I see us. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I'll just spitballing right here off of it. Those ones you're talking about. I see us beating the Chargers. Remember, Mostert has an injury history. Yep, he does. And that's exactly why I wanted to add a little bit more of stump back there. I mean, Duke Johnson's better than Gaskin or Ahmed, and Lindsey's better than both of them too. But yeah, he does have injury history. When we got to account for that, that's why Duke would help take a little bit of pressure off of that. Yeah. But if I was to say one of the games you'll win on the road right there, or even 2 of them, I'd give you the Chargers. Man, I don't know. I don't know about that Patriots game. It's kind of starting to scare me a little bit, honestly, because it's a division game, and there's 2 division games to the end of the season right there. Okay, yeah. The Jets, we owe your ass. We're gonna win that game. But the Patriots one scares me. I think we might lose that one right there. Like I don't want us to lose it, but
of course we don't want to. I know we're Dolphin fans. We don't want to. We want to run the table from here and get all the way to Arizona and play in the Super Bowl. But I was just saying, I mean, it's a tough road. It's what I'm pointing out.
There's 2 games right there, though. If I was going to lose one of them, I would pick the NFC games, which would be
the 49ers would be the better loss. I mean, there's never a good loss, but it would be less of an impact loss because of the conference record and tiebreakers at the end of the season.
I'm just spitballing here, but I feel like the way the Packers have been playing and the way the season's kind of shaping out for us, I think we're going to get a really nice Christmas present on Christmas Day on that game, and I think the Packers are going to play like shit. We're going to come out there and beat them, and we're going to get our Christmas present right there. So that's a win.
Yeah. I know. That's what I was saying. I just see 3. I see them winning 3 home games, and for me, you can ask my co-partner on Tuesday night, Steve. I'm always ready for the other shoe to drop, but I'm just feeling that confident with this team. I think they will win all 3 home games they have remaining. That would get them to the 10 wins. So then, if they can go 500 on the road, then that's they're playing with house money at that point. And if they do better than that on the road, then they're really they're in the driver's seat. So it's just like, but I know going up to Buffalo, yes, Buffalo's not looking like the team that we all made them out to be. There are kinks in the armor in Buffalo, but they're still a solid team, and
they're solid.
That house is going to be a rocking because unless there's another blizzard and we get the game gets sent somewhere else, that house is going to be a rocking, and that's going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a monster game right there, dude.
We've beaten New England 7 times in a row. Like 3 times in a row now. And off the top of my head, I know we both beat them both times last year, and this year we've beat them. So that Belichick has to be grinding at him, and he's still a good coach, and he's going to work up some game plan to slow our receivers down, and then we're going to have to prove that we can run the ball against them and whatever. Yeah. Because he's a mastermind at that. I'll give him that. So he's going to do something to take away the deep threat. To where we're going to have to show that we can just do long, sustained drives against them.
Right.
So that's going to be a tough game.
I think that's the reason, like, behind me trying to stack and steal other people's players off their practice squads and like all that stuff I just went through right there, trying to bolster our roster and give us Reuben Foster, give us Odell Beckham Jr., give us Bashard Breeland, give us Raymond Johnson III, Duke Johnson and Phillip Lindsay, give us those guys because it's gonna help us on those. Look what you're talking about, dude. We got to go Texas. Yeah, that's a win. Then we got to go to San Francisco, to LA to play the Chargers, to Buffalo to play Buffalo. 3 games in a row. I think I would like to bring the guys I just said over rather than the guys we have that we're not using. And that's why. It's because we're going through a tough road trip here. And then we got to play Green Bay on Christmas. Who knows, like you just said, what's going to happen, what Aaron Rodgers is going to get right there. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of a team. Then you have 2 division games to end the season. Anything can happen in those games, bro.
Yeah.
They're divisional battles.
No, I know. New England's not going to be a cakewalk for sure. We've done well against we've done well against New England so far. In the first game of the season, I was bragging. I was calling it a win before, saying, "Oh, we're better than New England this year." But New England has surprised me with how they've hung in there this year and haven't folded. They didn't fold and pack tent and say, "Well, we suck this year," And look at it now; they're ahead of the Jets in the division race and everything. So it's just crazy. I mean, and the Jets aren't going to be. I mean, it's tough. I mean, the whole division's tough when you look at it, and
I'd feel a lot better about that stretch run of games bringing in Breland for Raymond Johnson.
Yeah, I know.
Odell Beckham Jr.
more in the next show. But I just, it's crazy. But like I say, we're almost out of time here, but I would just like to say it's been a long time since the Dolphins have had a winning team. You're repping someone that at least, we had decent teams when Zach was on, but not like the Marino years. But, we always had some decent teams back in those days. Mm-hmm. And it's been so long since, you can actually look and feel good at this point, 10 games into the season, and you feel like the Dolphins have like a purpose this year.
How long have you been a Dolphins fan?
Oh, I've been since the AJ Dewey, Woodstock. That's why I asked about Don Strock the other day on there, because that was when I came in where my memories kick in, like the end of Bob Greasy, where he was no longer, like a lot of the younger fans, like they got the end of the Marino years, and that's they kind of remember like the end, not the great Marino. That's how I remember Greasy, not the great Greasy. So I remember the Don Strock, Woodstock. That's when Woodley was a starter and Strock would come in. And
so are you up to like 50 some odd years then of being a Dolphins fan?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm 52 years old and I've been a fan ever since I was born and raised down here, so I've been a fan,
And how
forever.
Many in that time since you've been a Dolphins fan? How many playoff games have you seen the Dolphins win?
Oh, a few, back in the day.
How many?
But, like I said, I can't even count them now. It's been so long. It's been, Marino won a lot of playoff games. He just didn't win unfortunately.
See, then you've been blessed because I've been a Dolphins fan since 1985. And I'll be honest with you, man, I think I've seen us win one fucking playoff game, dude. One. And it's when we beat the Colts with Lamar Smith and we rushed for 100 yards with Jay Fiedler.
Yeah. That's in 85 they won. Well, in 85 if you joined, they won. They did get to the AFC Championship game that year.
The year the 1985 when they beat the Bears to have
the that game they did win a playoff game that year, but then
so they won that playoff game that year. Okay, well I've seen two then.
Okay, so there's been there's been some others, but yeah, it's been a brutal. It's like I can't even remember.
That's brutal, bro. My whole time, my whole fandom, dude, I've watched us win 2 playoff games.
Yeah, the best playoff games that I remember me watching, you see. 1982 AFC Championship game when AJ Dewey had the 3 interceptions and we beat the Jets in the Orange Bowl, and we went on to play the Redskins, the then Redskins, and we lost. That's when John Riggins ran over us at the end, and they won the game basically. But that Miami won playoff games that year. They actually had to win 3 playoff games that year to advance all the way to the Super Bowl. Then in 1984, Dan Marino's record-breaking year, we made it all the way to the Super Bowl. So we had, and then that's my second. The 1984 AFC Championship, Miami just destroyed. They lit up Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought after that Super Bowl, after that AFC Championship, that I was going to finally see. And I'm saying finally see. I was only 15 or 16 at that point, but I thought it was too long. I had waited. And we still haven't won. So all these years, I don't know, because I don't remember. Like Steve's, old enough to remember the actually Super Bowl winning years. I'm just a little too young. I was on the planet, but I was basically in diapers, when they won. I don't remember anything. So it's tough as a Dolphin fan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like, as a Dolphins fan, it's been so hard for me, and I know like how I feel inside just with my years, devoted to the team. So I can't even imagine how are you going to feel if we hold up that Lombardi trophy? I know it's hard to express.
I probably have tears in my eyes. I'll admit. I'm going to let you guys see me because I'm probably going to cry.
I'm going to do a reaction video. I don't even care. You guys can watch me cry. It's tears of
I know. That's it. And it's just so weird because everything else in life, we have to control ourselves. Like we got to bring in money for the family. We control that. And we almost don't take as much pride in watching these other guys because it's just like, you're just like, oh, I can't control this. And it's just, I think that's what it's like. brings the passion that much more because you know it's outside of your control, but you just still root for them so hard
Right.
that
It's
you just root for their
it's nuts.
accomplishments as other people to help you feel good about your community, your team.
Right.
My case, my community, your team, and whatever. It's just you want that to pan out finally because my sons are 20 and 16, which means they have not seen one, and they're still Dolphin fans because of me, of course, but they have not seen one playoff win at all,
See,
and they've only made it a couple times. They made it
that's
in like the
dedication.
Adam, it's just I know it is. So that's why when I see like older fans talk down, oh, you guys don't know, you guys don't know. I'm like, man, these are the guys that you know, these are the guys that are dedicated fans because they
They
don't
should
know
score
me.
50 points on Houston. I agree, Steve. They should.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope so, Steve. I hope you bring that optimism tomorrow night. Make sure you guys join Steve and I tomorrow night.
I'll be there.
Yeah, 7:30 on the Finns Talk Sports Network. Another great network. And thank you, Bobby, if you ever listen to this one, and for helping me out, learning the back end as we grow and I try to build my own brand here. Thank you, Bobby. You've helped me a lot. He's teaching me the trades on how to do this and do a show at the same time. So, it's great. So we are built together. We're starting small, but hey, we're going to end big.
That's right,
The Dolphins. Just like the Dolphins.
That's
They're
right.
finally going to end big. So,
yeah, we're going all in. Like, it's for me in my fandom, it's crazy, man. Like, if we are fortunate enough to get to that promised land where we want to go and get to the end hump where we're holding up that Lombardi trophy, remember, he who laughs last laughs best.
Hey, that's a great way.
Best. And I'll be honest with you,
I like that saying because we're definitely.
I'm gonna have so many emotions going through me, but I'm definitely going to be crying and tears of joy. But the things in my mind that I've been thinking about is think about everything that this football team has been through, especially for the last decade or so. It's just like scandal after scandal.
Oh no, that's the only reason Dolphins. That's the only reason Dolphins make national TV sometimes is if you turn on the NFL Network and they talk about every other team, but because they're national, they're relevant in the national picture. We have not been relevant unless we do
not at all.
One of our famous scandals.
Seasons.
The only thing we ever get down for. It's just crazy. I just want to see. And now, you're starting to see it. We're starting to get some love. Almost scares me as a Dolphin fan because it's like we're starting to get some love.
I'm actually embracing it because I'm like, oh wow, man, that's the first time we've actually even gotten some kudos.
Yeah, I know. I like it. We are very close this year. When you look at the competition, there's a lot of good teams, and we're right up there with them. There's not a team in this league that I look at that says that the Dolphins can't beat.
Exactly. But it's also the same way. We could beat anybody in the NFL right now. We just can't beat ourselves.
Right. Which every team does occasionally. They beat themselves.
Yeah,
and you just definitely
get
can't
away from that stuff, man. We'll be one hell of a hard team to beat. And I said it before we got the running game. You get us a running game and the defense starts catching on to what we already got to dominate the line of scrimmage, man. We're going to be one hard team to beat. Hard to kill.
No, I agree. And it's great. So anyway, it's almost time to end our wonderful show here, but I just want to make sure you guys, thank you for joining. You're going to see us grow before your eyes, and you're going to become part of the show. It's great. Just make sure you tackle that subscribe button and, hit the thumbs up when you give us a fins up, and we're going to have, keep on bringing the passion each day. This week, we're going to be a little slow because I got family commitments and stuff.
Turkey Day, man.
Yeah, I got turkey and stuff. But next Monday, we'll be hitting it hard for sure and going, try to be on almost every weekday unless something else comes up in life happens. But, for the most part, we're going to try to be here, talk fans, have all you guys become part of the show.
Yep.
And, it's just, because we're all Dolphins together. Just enjoy this ride while we're having it. It's been a long time. We see Tua, of all people, man, in the NFL, that kid deserves, all the doubters he's had and all the hate him and from our own fan base. It'd be so pleasant to see him because, that would just be it. Even if he never won again, this one, because Marino never won, but this one him holding up there one time. It's
Just
just
what a storyline that would be, dude. Just
I
what a
know.
storyline that would be. The guy who like everybody thought was going to be nothing is holding up the Super Bowl MVP, Lombardi Trophy. Confetti running down, all aqua and orange. The fans are going crazy.
That'd be
People are
great.
tearing up. World
Oh yeah,
class.
it would be, man. It'd be like the greatest thing anyway.
It'd be awesome.
So I'll get with you on the back end when I talk about, but for sure we're gonna go next Monday. We'll talk about tomorrow, but I got some things going on, so I don't know. But for sure next Monday we're gonna hit it hard and hopefully talking about a Dolphins victory at 10 a.m. next week. So that'd be great. And like I said, I'll talk to you on the back end and give you all your Thanksgiving. But for all you guys out there that find this, thank you. Like I said, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and have a great, safe holiday week. No matter what you guys do this week, just be safe.
Be
so we
safe.
can see the Dolphins and move forward and start kicking butt as the season ends here. So thank you guys. Justin, I let you say whatever you want to say as we get out of here.
All right, you can just go ahead and take it out. He who laughs last laughs best.
Yes. Fins up, guys. Thank you so much for joining. You guys were great as always. Thank you so much.